Welcome everyone to our Week 6 webinar for the CMOT CMOOC. And this week we're looking at section 6, which is choosing a specialisation, which I think is quite a fun part of the portfolio. It's where you can really go to town about what is specific about your practice that really makes a difference. So with us today we have, on my screen from left to right, we have Raj. And Raj is just back from being overseas. You might want to fill us in a little bit about that, Raj. And then we have Lisa, all the way from Blackboard Support Desk. And then we have Neil, all the way from Japan.
Good morning.
Actually back in Japan for a change. And then we have NMIT Online, which I'm assuming is Paul. And Paul seems to be having issues with his audio and video, but looks like he's there. And of course myself, all the way from the Waikato. So great to have you all on board today, and looking forward to a bit of discussion and just exploring what it is that might fit into the CMOT specialisation section. So Neil, I know that you've actually done an update and you put that into the project bank. That's great. Yeah. Hopefully people are reading that, and we'll give you some feedback. And of course, I know Raj has actually submitted his portfolio, so he can talk about his specialisation. But Lisa, where are you at? Have you managed to get your specialisation section yet?
No, not yet. I want to actually sit down with yourself or with Raj and go through and see what the best way. I've got a couple of ideas, but I need to be pointed in the right direction.
Okay. What are you kind of thinking might be where you'd head for your specialisation?
Probably I want to do assessment. But there's a couple of
online assessment, maybe?
Online assessment, yeah, online assessment. Okay. But there's a couple of options that I'm looking at, but I just don't know which is ethical and which is whether I'm allowed to use them.
Okay.
Well, I think I was looking at my section, so I used this thing called as training, mentoring, and developing others in my portfolio. And when I thought of Lisa, I thought of her fitting really well in training, developing, and mentoring others. And what I did in my portfolio was I gave 2 examples. So under this theme, I gave 2 examples. One was about e-mentoring. Another one was about my involvement with TATL, which is Talk About Teaching and Learning, which is an Australasian sort of a thing. So under those 2 specific examples, then I sort of described them, provide evidence, and reflected and added my reflection. So considering the massive amount of work Lisa is doing in terms of assisting academics throughout Auckland University, I think, again, as I said, this is my initial gut feeling. Generically speaking, it can fall under the umbrella of training and mentoring others. And then she could probably go down further, pick 1 or 2 examples, for example, about assessment, and how she has specifically focused in terms of mentoring and assisting others in terms of developing their assessments and things like that. So yes, please, I'll be very happy to have a chat with you about it.
That would be great. Thanks, Raj.
Cool. Thanks for that comment, Raj. And I think wherever you can, if you can make a link, particularly in your reflection section, to underlying theory and what is informed, the basis for why you're making those sorts of choices, and any design choices that you're making. If you can link back to significant teaching and learning theory, then that's really good as well. And so it just sort of shows what the influences are. It's a bit like, saying you like rock music, but which are the rock bands that you actually really influence your choices and etc. So getting a little bit more specific there if you can link to theory, which is great. Paul, great to have you here.
Thanks, Tom. Sorry, I had trouble with my laptop working over the Wi-Fi here.
Right. So it's good to have you actually join.
Yeah.
Cool. And so we're talking about this week, Paul, about specialisation. And just have you had a think about what you might actually put into your specialisation section of your portfolio?
Yes, I think mostly in terms of, I guess my background as a designer, stuff like user interface design and that kind of user experience area.
and then how you wrap that or bring that experience into developing Moodle courses or online courses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know you're probably, your initial reaction to our little discussion forum was, man, it's ugly.
No, that wasn't my first. No.
No, what was your first reaction then?
Oh, well, I've just been using the kind of administration section because I was just checking to make sure that everyone was subscribed, and it's the interface of Moodle kind of 3.2 plus is I find actually really awkward.
Yeah.
So having to learn the interface, and it's not. I don't like that so much.
It's not easy to use.
Have you found
I agree.
it?
It's not easy to use.
Yeah. So we're still hanging.
Probably because I'm used. Yeah. Probably because I'm used to Blackboard, but open mind with what Moodle can do. But it is a little bit kind of, where do I find things? Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I guess what we're keen to do is try to actually make the system work a bit better as a replacement for our Google Plus forums, because it seems to have unfortunately led to a lot less interaction than what we had when we had Google Plus running as our sort of discussion and sharing forum. So keen for any ideas from people on how we can actually make that work better for our next iteration. We'll be running another CMOOC, this is a plug anyway, after Easter, which is our Moss Amount one, our original CMOOC that we developed around mobile and social media learning technologies. So it's actually different focus to the CMOT CMOOC. We're not so much aligned with just directly on a CMOT portfolio, but more around online profiles in general, and getting people exploring mobile technologies and social media in their teaching practice. So might be something you want to join as well there, Neil, have a part 2. So
yeah, writing it down.
Yeah, cool. So I will send everyone details of that, but that'll be last week of April. We'll be launching that after Easter. So I kind of been saving you to last in this discussion at the moment, Neil, because I know that you've done an actual example this week, and I was keen for you to sort of talk us through it. And maybe if you wanted to, you should be able to turn on screen sharing if you want to actually pull up your blog post and show us. So if you mouse over to the left of the Hangout, some tools should sort of pop up on your screen, and the second one down is screen share, and then you can choose either your entire desktop or an application window. You want to pull your blog post up on your preferred web browser and screen share it to us and talk us through it. That'd be great.
Sure.
You're putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. My blog post was basically a video. So I don't know if you'd like to see me on the video.
Well, you could just tell us what the video.
Yeah, that might be
the content.
Yeah. So as I may have said a few times, that where I work doesn't have a lot of technology opportunities. So my wife and I, my partner, Keiko, decided a couple of years ago that we would branch out from where we both work and try and create online courses. And we explored a few platforms, and we came up with Udemy as the provider. And Udemy is very, very helpful, actually. If you haven't made online courses before, they have a lot of ways to help you create your course.
Do you have to pay a subscription fee or a license fee?
No, the way they make their money is by selling your courses. So they have quite a large cut of any money that you make. You don't have to sell the courses. You can provide them for free if you give people who sign up them a password. And in that case, Udemy doesn't make any money at all. Although I imagine part of their business model is that people who sign up for a free course are quite likely to sign up for another paid course. But from a teacher's perspective, it's totally free, and a very stable platform with a lot of advice. So I would recommend it to others who are interested in doing that. And then basically they encourage you to make videos. You don't necessarily have to, but I think it's their preferred choice. And then the videos are up to you as to how you want to make them. And then we decided to build them on Keynote on the and then take videos mainly of me talking. And then Keiko has done lots of effect and animation and music and voiceovers.
So these courses you've actually developed are for English language teaching?
Yeah, 3 so far. The first was a grammar course on articles, because Japanese students have a tremendous problem with articles because there isn't an article system in Japanese language. So that was a very practical thing we wanted to show. But there aren't many courses that focus specifically on that one piece of grammar. So that was an interesting one to research and create videos about. And the second one was on small talk, getting to know people without really saying very much. And again, that's a very important skill, but there's not a lot of courses about how to learn small talk. And then the most recent one was about English for business meetings or meetings, not necessarily business. And then the one we're doing at the moment is about presentations and academic writing.
Cool. And so in your specialisation section, you've described that and done a little bit of a critique of it, reflected on it.
Yes, and I guess there's a technical side to making those kind of things, but I think as we've had a bit of experience, perhaps the more interesting side is the motivational side, is how you create a video to a set of learners that you never see, that will keep them interested and keep them motivated and want them to move on to the next part of the course, and perhaps on to another course.
It's just someone talking in the background there. And I see as well in your post you've linked to quite a number of research outputs based around that. So that's really good, because it shows a deep level of reflection around that process and that design process. So might be good to just sort of summarize that a little bit, what some of the impact of that practice, rather than the reviewers having to actually click on the links to read your research papers.
Okay.
Maybe you just did a little bit of paragraph saying, what was the key focus or output that research paper was, reflecting on, discussing, etc., in relevance to your specialisation.
Okay, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, but certainly it shows that you've done a lot of work, which is really good.
Thank you.
So let me just quickly screen share, because and just show people your post. And
while you're finding that, Tom, can I just ask Neil a question?
Sure, yeah.
So Neil, the Udemy courses, does that when students are doing the courses that you've made, do you have any more interaction with them?
Well, if you share with students that so I teach 300 university students, and I can share my courses with them, and then that does promote interaction. But I already know those students.
Right.
The unknown students, they're all across the world. There's over 30 countries. Students have signed up for these courses, and the only way to interact with them is if they review you or they ask a question, or if you want to send a message out to all of them, suggesting that there's some new materials, or you found some new information that might be interesting to them. But it doesn't promote very much dialogue at all, really. And I don't think that's why people go to these courses. They're not interested in group discussions or forums or creating a community. It's a sort of one-off package of easy to access materials that they can do in their own time on the move. Does that?
Well, that's great sort of reflection, Neil. That you know, if you haven't got that in your video there already, you could probably add in. So even you know, because this Hangout is archived on YouTube, you could even just link a section of this video that you've just, you know, last 2 minutes of you talking about, reflecting about that, you know, without having to repeat that if you wanted to.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's good. Good hint. Saves time as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll tweet the link to the archive, and with YouTube you can choose a start and end point of any video as well. So you can just link to the section where you're reflecting on, I guess, the global impact of your Udemy courses.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Because I thought that was a nice reflection. So there we are. I'm screen sharing that, and it shows Neil talking and a link to his various outputs based around that. So the key thing, I think, is really just making sure there's enough depth and reflection there, and it's really showing, I suppose, the level of impact of what this practice has been for your own practice, but also for your students. And as you were just saying, that it's potentially a global impact that anyone around the world could actually sign up for these. And what's the evidence behind that?
Yeah.
So that's cool. So it's in the project bank. It's under week 6, choosing a specialisation. And there's currently 5 examples there, and Neil's is the latest one.
Just while we're on that, Tom, there's a couple of projects, one in specialisation and one, I think, in week 4, where the link is broken. There isn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess we've left that up to whoever posted them, but we could check them to see. Yeah. So I guess that's the nature of stuff being online, that it may move, or people, once they've actually done their portfolios, might either delete them or make them no longer public. Or things like videos may no longer be available. It's part of the nature of the web, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
So cool. So just the other thing to encourage people is our CMOOC discussion forum, which I'd like to see a bit more discussion around and sharing. And Neil's been pretty good at that, so he posted the link to his project bank example there earlier in the week. And this is running on Moodle. It's not particularly exciting looking, as you can see, but we're trying to make it work better as we go along. And there's posts there for each week outlining the sort of activity and the types of things that you could put into each section of your CMOOC portfolio, and also links to our webinars. Raj has introduced himself, etc. But just keen to see a little bit more discussion there. So 1 more week left, and that's week 7, which is kind of a bit of a wrap up, I suppose. So I'll stop screen sharing now. So hopefully over the 7 weeks of the CMOOC, people getting a little bit of an idea of what it is that a CMOOC portfolio encompasses, what they kind of need to do for each section, some ideas, some practical tools that they might like to explore. And hopefully it's been a useful experience for people. So at this stage, any other questions, anything people would like to discuss, talk about? Paul's busy getting a phone call.
Yeah, sorry.
How embarrassing. I think a lot of it is just getting around to starting. So, you know, Raj is completed and just waiting on review feedback. Paul, I think you're getting pretty close to being able to submit. The next submission round is actually due on the 1st of May. And what we're going to do here at AUT is we're planning what we're calling a CMOOC boot camp, which is basically 4 days where we're encouraging people to sit together in a room and just get writing and hopefully get feedback from other people like Raj and myself, etc., who've done it already. But certainly, if you wanted to join us remotely, virtually, Neil, then feel free to do that.
When is the boot camp?
It's the week before Easter. So depends if people are away on holiday or not, so taking leave, but we'll be aiming to hopefully get people to put aside some time to get some writing done. So Lisa will get some, more sections done, tidy some stuff. Paul, get started. He's like a intentions are good, but you need to actually put pen to paper while, fingers to keys and get blogging, etc.
Paul, let's try and encourage one another.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, whatever it is, some sort of, give yourself some sort of reward once you've done a section or you put something into a section. And it could be chocolate, it could be, go to a movie, watch a Netflix episode or something. I don't know. Just give yourself a little reward for being good. I mean, what did you do, Raj? How did you motivate yourself?
I think I was just about to second the comment which you made about being able to just put your head down and write something, because sometimes what happens is you may have a lot of ideas and you may want to put them in the best possible form, but I think it doesn't work that way. It probably just start with creating a first draft, I think. So when I was creating my first draft, I wasn't thinking too much, as in I wasn't being super critical of myself. I was just jotting down things, and then once I had the first draft ready, that's when I was being super critical and thinking repeatedly and things like that. So unless we have first draft, we can't really work on things. So I think if the idea is to submit on 1st May, I think the best thing would be to somehow create a first draft. That doesn't have to be, that can be far from perfect. And once you have the first draft, that's when it's possible to sort of polish and fine tune it, I think.
Yeah, good point.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Just what are the mechanics of submitting on the 1st of May, and when is, if that's not possible, when's the next opportunity?
So there's 3 throughout the year. I think they're about 4 months apart. I think it's 1st of February, May, and then October or something. So basically what it is there's an online form that you access through the Alt site or the SQLite site, the section on CMOP portfolio submission. And it's just an online form where you provide the link to your portfolio. And obviously contact details for them to be able to get back to you. You do need to be a signed up member of either SQLite or Alt to get your CMOLT accreditation done. So if you haven't done that already, you might want to become a member of either SQLite or Alt. SQLite's the Australasian Southern Hemisphere version. Alt is the UK Northern Hemisphere version. And you also need to pay an accreditation fee, which is £150. Is it £150? $150. Can't remember exactly. Have to look it up. I think it all up comes to about $450. So it's about so including the membership fee and the accreditation fee, it's about 450 New Zealand dollars. So hopefully you can get that off your institution. And for most institutions, it's valuable for their staff to be able to prove that they are capable at teaching and learning, which is a good thing. So most of them cough up the money for you.
So Neil, are you very close, or are you thinking about 1st May, or you're not 100% certain about it?
Well, I asked Tom earlier how he said something like, "Oh, you've almost finished," and which I didn't realize I had. So that was very encouraging. So I think if I can get it done by May the 1st, that would be a good thing.
Yeah, I think if you think that you're close, it'll be good to maybe try and identify a few days and just kind of use those days to focus on this and get it out of the way. Because if you miss this one, then again, you'll probably have to wait for 4 months, and then the focus gets diverted to something else. and then it becomes tricky. So might as well just use this time to focus on fine-tuning bits and pieces and then probably go ahead with it. And I also think that no matter how perfect anyone's portfolio is, unless it's an exceptional case, there will always be some kind of comments and feedback anyways. So there's no point being overthinking certain things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know what the standard. Tom's is the standard for me, and it's way too high. So,
is there any way you could access my submission, Neil? It's a reasonable one. It's not as exceptional as Tom, but that will give you an idea of.
Just paste the link into the chat there.
Okay, give me a second. I'm just going to do that. Yeah, so you saw it, and.
Yeah, so there is a database of portfolios on the alt site, and we've linked to 4 or 5 AUT examples in various posts. But I can put those links up again. So they're on our WordPress, cmocmuc.wordpress.com site.
I've already copy-pasted my Neil. If you have plans through some of the things, and I think it's reasonably straightforward and simple. I mean, as long as we have addressed the key criterias. And also another thing to remember is everyone's discipline is slightly different. Everyone's work is different. So it doesn't really, it's not really fair to compare one's portfolio with someone else's. So like Tom's experience and his work is completely different than what you do and what I do. So it's difficult to sort of compare these, but it'll give you a generic idea in terms of we are hitting that criteria. I think we should be okay.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's great.
Yeah. So we have linked, I think, on the CMOC WordPress site under resources as well to the submission guidelines, which outline, I guess, the criteria for each section, what kind of expected as well. So that's a PDF you can download and have a flick through while you're trying to polish it up and make sure that's no glaring gaps. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. It's almost time for 11 o'clock and time for us to finish for today. But great to have everyone on board. Raj, Lisa, Neil, Paul, thanks for your input. And for those watching us live and who are going to watch us later, hope you've got something out of it. And feel free to contribute to the discussion forum as well. So that's community.sotel.nz. Okay, I'm going to stop the broadcast now. Thank you.